So this past Tuesday evening, I had the opportunity with about maybe 40 or so of my new closest friends to take a walk from the meeting room where we had just been blessed by this most amazing concert. And we took a walk through the campus over to the fountain area, and the fountains were lit up and the water was just flowing and gorgeous and beautiful, a whole line of fountains down this promenade. And we took a right turn and stepped through a courtyard out into this expansive area and walked up to the Labyrinth that is larger probably than anyone I had seen before. And it was lit with candlelight so that the path as you wound around, every step was lit by candles, and it was soft, and the evening was beautiful, and there was soft music playing, and you could hear the breeze in the trees and some bird song, but it was just beautiful. And as you step into the courtyard, we were greeted by someone who, if you wanted, gave you a hug as you started your journey. And stepped into the first foot or so of this winding road. And I kept my eyes down after a time, because watching and looking at everything before me, the winding road, and as it wound around and weaved back and forth, and there were others on the path before me, got a little distracting and little too much activity. So I quieted down and directed my eyes to the ground and just stepped forward and started walking the path. And I noticed as I was walking, I kept getting distracted and looking up to see where I was going. And I wanted to know, where is this path going to take me? And when is it going to turn around? And then I started wondering, as I walked forward, were some of the people that I was passing, were they in front of me or behind me? Were they leaving the labyrinth, or were they just a few steps ahead? As I passed some people who were looking up and who were watching people in front of them, some of them would bow to you and send you a blessing as they passed you. So I continued walking and meandering through, and still kind of watching things around me, always still looking ahead, but looking at the paths on either side and wondering, are those paths that I might have walked on before, or is that something up ahead of me? And because the questions kept coming in my head, I kept wanting to analyze what was happening on the walk. And I realized I was analyzing, and I realized I was trying to figure out how long this was going to take me, and how many steps was I going to make, and how many people might I pass, and gee, are they really ahead of me? Are they walking faster than me? Are they going to beat me to the outside? Are they already coming out? And I took stock of my active mind here, just trying to figure out things, and realized that that's how I've probably walked the first 20, 30 years of my life. Always trying to see what was up ahead, always wanting to figure out, always wanting to know, what's the path? Tell me what it looks like. What's it going to feel like? What am I going to have to deal with? Who's this person coming my way? Who's on this side? Who's on that side? Who the heck might be behind me? And my mind just kept going on and on and on and on and on and on. And then I just kind of embraced, I said, this is what you do. This is what you do. I'm always analyzing, always trying to figure out, not always trusting. The first 20, 25 years of my life, I didn't trust life, didn't trust God, didn't have the same life-affirming, deeply convicted trust that I have now. And so I had to breathe deeply and just focus on the steps in front of me and continue weaving around. And I noticed that as I got more peaceful and as I just concentrated on every single step, one step at a time, one brick at a time, one paver at a time, as I focused on the person that was in front of me when they came, whether they acknowledged me or not, whether they bowed and greeted me and blessed me or not, I started to bless them in return and give thanks for them on my path. And then I just enjoyed the walk. And I started to realize that the walk was going to take me wherever it needed to take me, wherever it was destined to take me as I decided to walk. And I took my time and I slowed down and I started to enjoy the breeze and I started to enjoy the candlelight, what was lighting my path in every single step. And then the emotions started to well up, because I realized that in the surrender, in the letting go, joy was just bubbling up. And this feeling that whatever was at this center of this labyrinth was there when I started the journey, and it would be there when I ended that journey. And I started to feel held and supported on the walk. It felt like there was something in every step that I took as I walked around and around. And every turn, I started to enjoy every turn and every meandering towards a different part of the labyrinth. I didn't always do that either, because when another page was turned in my life or another chapter started, in the beginning I would greet those things with apprehension and fear because I had no trust. And when I slowed down and surrendered, then I enjoyed those turns. And as I moved around, I could feel the arc in the stone. I could enjoy again every paver, every person that came through, everyone that blessed me or who did not stop to bless me or acknowledge me. It was all good. So I continued to walk in meandering. I realized that there were some paths that I had passed before, things that I had been through, things that I lived through, parts of myself that I might have left behind, parts of myself that weren't necessary anymore, that I had shed, that I had released because they were no longer serving me. Knowing that I was probably stepping into, as I continued to walk in meandering, that I was stepping into a new level of expression on the path, and that it was all good. It was all good. It all started to feel all good. And I lost my concern for how long it was going to take and what it was going to look like and where it was taking me. Where it was taking me, because I always wondered, where are you taking me? Where are you taking me? I stopped worrying about where it was going, because I knew that wherever it was going was good. It was good. And the emotion welled up again. And I realized that I passed people along this path that I dearly, dearly loved. Some of them stopped and hugged me. Some of them I could feel hug me, and they hadn't even touched me. And I was grateful for it all as I continued to walk and meander around. And I could feel myself getting closer to the center, physically getting closer to the center, that the center was calling me, was beckoning me forward. And as I stepped into the center and sat and just let myself be with the center and recognize myself as the center, more emotions started to come up. Because then I knew, I really, really, really knew down in my bones that the center had always been there. Always been there. Always been there through all the stuff I released, through all the stuff I went through all the misgivings, the doubts, the fears, the concerns, the need to know, the lack of trust, the lack of faith. The center was always there. Solid and powerful and quiet and infinite. Because I was part of that path, I was part of that center, and I knew that I was part of that center. And I knew without a doubt that that path was lit for me before I got here in this physical realm. That path was lit for me before I got here. And it was all good. It was all good. And then I saw the path that led out. And again, I weaved through, walked around, enjoying the turns, feeling the turns, slowing down when I came to a turn, acknowledging the turn, the change in my path, the page that was turned in the chapter of my life, perhaps. Started to slow down and be in that turn, in that shift in my life, and knowing that again my path is lit and the path was made for me, and that there were gifts along the way, and that there were more people to love and to bless, and who loved and who blessed me, and it no longer mattered that there may have been pain I left along the way, or that there may have been pain ahead of me again, because I just kept feeling the center that even though I was walking away from it, I was weaving around it continuously. And I was aware of the center. And I was aware of that strength, of that center stone that was laid in the middle, that was waiting for me, that was calling for me, that could see me no matter where I was on the path. And then I cried again. Because I knew that that center was God, and that center was me, and that center had my back as I was walking. And I blessed the roads that were on either side of me, whether it was a road that I was going to walk upon now because I'm now weaving in this direction, or whether it's a path I left and had previously walked. I blessed them all because they were parallel. They were right next. I knew that I was in a next level of expression on this part of my path. And I knew that that was good, even though it might have been painful, even though it might have been challenging. I knew that that was good too. And I knew that I could call it good, the path that I had yet to walk. And still, the center was there. The center was there. And I weaved around the center, and the center was me, and I was the center. I didn't expect to be touched by that experience. But there was a power and a freedom and a knowingness and a recognition of life that in that path and that weaving around, in that simple exercise that somebody else created for that space, that I could have an experience of God, that I could remember that there is always a center that's calling me in, that ushers me out, that is always there throughout the journey. The center that is God, that is me, that is the path, that touches every stone that you walk upon, that made every single step that I made holy because it was a part of the center of the whole. I kept feeling the center, and I knew that the center was feeling me. I knew that there was no difference. I knew that I could walk confidently forward, that I can continue meandering through life, walking this path, up the hills, the mountains, down through the valleys, whatever is before me, I knew that I could walk it and walk it confidently because of the center. Because of the center. Because all that road led to and from the center and never deviated from the center. Wrapped around it. Wrapped around it. Our lives are continuous meanderings through this physical realm. And every step, yes, every step is holy. That was a message I got that night. Every step is lit. Your path is lit. The way is lit. Even if you feel like the darkness is overcoming you, there is always light lighting your path. There is always a center calling you in, ushering you out. I know that at the end of my physical existence here, the center will be there, feeding me, guiding me beyond whatever adventure is on the other side of the veil. I have no need to fear because that center is rock solid. We can step forward into life absolutely confidently. But man, you got to know that center is there. You got to know that no matter where you are, that center is there. We can stop worrying about what was behind us and what's before us. We can stop worrying about who's behind us or before us or walking along this path. And we can just walk. One step at a time, one breath at a time, 1 inch of earth at a time. Each turn, each meandering, each floating of the path, up and down. We get to be with it. It is with us. It is us. It is us. Have no fear. Have no fear. Have no fear. And walk fully and boldly into life, knowing that a path has been laid for you. For you. Even as you may say, for little old me, forgetting that there is this magnificence that is you, and there's no such thing as little old you. There's no such thing as little you. Because we are that center, we are that path. We are that same strength that is there, waiting for us, beckoning us to come. And knowing that even though we may be headed out of that path, that physical path, that we are still there in the center with the center. So not only should we have no fear, we should have joy and love, open arms, so that we can shine and pour forth into life. Pour forth into life. You are love, and you are magnificence, and you are worthy just by your inherent personhood. That was a message I heard throughout this past week. You are worthy simply because you are. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to say anything. You don't have to show up as anything in particular. You don't have to achieve. It doesn't matter if you fail. You are worthy simply because you are. And the more we focus on the center, the more we know ourselves as that center, the more we trust the path and the meanderings and the turns, the goings in and the goings out, the ebbs and the flows of life. The more we trust along that path, the more joy and peace is ours. The more assuredness you have in every single thing that you do. Every single thing that you do. And you'll know that your entire path is beautiful. All of it. All that came before this moment and all that is extended beyond you right now, waiting for you to step forward. All of it's beautiful. You can call it what you will, but the divine sees nothing but beauty. The divine sees nothing but love. The divine sees and knows you as light and is calling you to pour forth your light as you walk this path. Shine and shine brightly. Shine and shine brightly. And know that the center is infinite. It has no circumference. It is everywhere, at all times, for all time. Let's take this in a meditation. So breathe deeply. I want you to consider your path in life, all that came before, see the very young you. Those first 10 years. Call back the experience of you during that time. And no matter how you have judged it, I invite you now to call it good, to call it love. And know that during that time, the center was calling you, was with you, that God was in that mix, in your every step, your every breath, guiding you, lighting your way. Call it good and beautiful, for you never walked in darkness. Never. And see the teenage you in all our awkwardness, our trying, our efforts to figure out the world and figure out ourselves. All the drama and tumultuousness of teenage years. And no matter what filled those days, those years, I invite you now to call it good, to call it beautiful. Knowing that all those who crossed your path during that time were sent as teachers, all of them sent to teach you something, to help catapult you further into goodness and light, to help you discover who you truly are. Now step into your 20s, your 30s, your 40s and 50s, your 60s, your 70s, however many years are behind you. I invite you to look at it, call it good and beautiful, that every step led you here to this place and time. That no matter the challenges, your way was lit, your path was lit, and the center was present, beckoning you forward, knowing you as love and light. No matter what challenges you experienced, the center was there within you, outside of you, lighting your way, loving you, knowing you as love and light. All those that you met along that path were teachers for you. Teachers who in one way or another were catapulting you forward into your magnificence. Call it all good. Call it all joy. You survived it all. You made it through. It strengthened you for the path ahead. Bless those who may have hurt you. Forgive those who committed some transgression on your life. See them as goodness and light. Acknowledge them as teachers, simply teachers, helping you to discover more of who you are, more of your magnificence. Now I want you to see your life as it is right now. the mixed bag that it is, that you may judge it to be. The trials and tribulations, the joys, the blessings, the people that are in your life. Call it all good. I invite you to call it all good now, knowing that each person in your life, each one that you come into contact with in the here and now, is a teacher for you that can catapult you closer and more fully into your magnificence. That each experience you're having right now, though it may be difficult, that circumstance, that situation is lit by the center, which is God. And all is well. Forgive those who have brought transgression into your life. Let go of all that you need to release, knowing that from here, every single step along your path is lit with the light that is God, that is you, that is your magnificence, and that the path ahead is all good. And you can step forward confidently, boldly, knowing that you have whatever it is that you need to walk this path, because you are a unique expression of the divine, lacking nothing, needing nothing, having it all closer than your fingertips. And call this path ahead of you good. Call it beautiful. And I want you to see yourself as you are now, this present day. See yourself fully and call it good. Call it beautiful. For all that God has created is good and beautiful, magnificent. For all is God, and God is all. And that, my friends, includes you. Call it good. Call it beautiful. Knowing that at any moment you can shed whatever it is you don't want to bring forward into the next iteration of you, into the next level of expression. Call it good. Call it beautiful. And so we say yes and thank you for the life that we have lived, the life we will continue to live. We say yes and thank you to be here alive at this time on this beautiful earth of ours, with the gifts that are ours to heal ourselves, our lives, our loved ones, and the world. And I invite you now to decide in this moment that you will pour yourself forth into life as the light that you are, the brilliant, inexhaustible light that you are. And you will shine and shine brightly, brilliantly. For you are the center. The center is you. Your path is lit. You are led with love, as love, to love. For love is what we are. Love is what we do. And love is our home. Love is our home. So let's take a deep breath in. Exhale. Inhale again. Breathing in, love and light, knowing that we are magnificent and ready to pour ourselves forth into light, into life, into each other, into our gifts, into our gifts. And so it is, and so it shall be. Amen.